Come on, come on. What is up, everybody? Happy Thursday to you. I hope you are having a wonderful day. There we go. I needed to mute myself on the computer so that I could use my volume button to, you guys, I don't want to advertise my Oreos. So I can use my volume button so I can read the chats without having issues. So, how is everyone? Hey, Brian, how are you? I hope all is well with you. It's interesting. I feel like under the Trump administration, there's going to be something interesting and fun to talk about all the time. Yes, my daughter made to the Junior Honor Society. Go Queen, go Queen. Junior Honor Society, that's what we love. We love when our kids are productive. You should be proud of her. Yay for Brian's daughter. I love kids who are busy doing something valuable. And that's just what's up. That means dad is doing a good job. And so we give you your flowers as well, Brian. Thank you to the dads. Shout out to Brian. Proud dad. Proud dad. Daughter made it to the Junior Honors Society. We love to see it. We love, love, love to hear it and see that. So, everyone is, I guess we're all kind of looking at how the Trump administration plays out with this Doge. And it's interesting. The more I hear, coming from the Trump administration, the more I conclude that this is just going to be, just get your popcorn. There's going to be a lot of interesting things going on. And some of it is going to be distraction. And I mean, all of it is not going to benefit us at the end, but nevertheless, it's for entertainment value. So, I was reading an article and then I was listening to a blogger the other day talk about how Elon's Doge team has reportedly reached out to CDC workers. And the way that these people are framing it, he is asking them to they say that he's asking them to basically prove their loyalty. But I think really what it is they're playing like the Bob's role, right? So have you ever seen that role, that scene in Office Space where the company's kind of reassessing things, right? And they bring in these consultants, right? Bob and Bob, right? And Bob's job is to kind of understand what everybody does within the organization to kind of see if there is room to maybe make some cuts to save some money, right? So this is what Doge is. Doge is equivalent to the Bobs in that movie Office Space, right? So he's out here in these streets sending letters, and essentially he just wants to know one thing. What exactly do you do here, right? Like he wants to make sure that they are not a bunch of Miltons sitting around with their red stapler making money off of taxpayers and they don't really have a valuable function. But obviously liberal media, they need to frame anything coming out of the Trump administration as somehow this highly authoritarian thing. So the way, like, if you let the liberals tell it, it's like, excuse me, I don't know what European country this accent is about to come from, but if it's similar to your countries, I'm sorry, I'm American. We're going to chop up shit all day. But I can imagine, they're reading that, and, if we didn't have the email system, it would be like, From the Republic, the American Republic of Doge, Lord Elon would like for you in 48 hours, no more than that, to report to him the value of your job. He wants to know if you are valuable, right? This is what Elon is out here doing, and them folks do not like it. They don't like it. They don't like that Elon is out here asking them to prove their value, but the liberals are kind of translating it as Elon is saying, I need you to prove your loyalty. I don't think that's what he's doing. He really is trying to understand what do your day-to-day look like, and what value do you provide to the US governmental process. But obviously, the liberals are not taking this very well. And some of these cuts are pretty quick. I think some of them, they're trying to show the American people that they are about their business and that they mean what they say when Trump says he's going to have accountability, the system is rigged, all that stuff. Like, he's trying to show the American people that he really means those things by, cutting a lot of the government waste, right? I forgot how many different government agencies in the United States there are, but I thought it was over 400, I believe. That's way too many. And so, if I could kind of imagine, like, with the Republicans are the ones where when the Democrats want to kind of grow the government, then their administrations come in and they shrink it. It's like this weird ebb and flow of things where you have one group of people who wants big government, and then you have another group of people that wants small government. And so there's a lot of teeter-tottering of the governmental affairs in the United States, in my opinion. All right. What's going on? I see you half past 7. I see you. What's going on, Pascal, Leon? I see you. So, another thing that came down the pipeline this week is Joy Reid was let go from MSNBC. And you have hosts like Rachel Maddow, who were as safe as they come on that network, right? She's standing up for Joy, and, she's even alluding to this may be a racist move by the network to let Joy go. Now, I looked at Joy's video. She was on a podcast empowering women, right? And then she, kind of broke into tears. It was her reality that, obviously she had been let go from this great network job that she's had for about 5 years. And, I started to think to myself, when she was saying, my show had value. My show had value. That's one of the things that Joy Reid said. It's like, I felt like my show had value. And it absolutely did have value for a segment of people who are Black brulee or those who leverage the Black brulee, right? But, I think that her show also was valuable for a time. Right? So if everybody can put on your time machine hats and go back to that dear, awesome year of 2020 when we had riots and diseases running rampant upon the United States, and consequently there was a lot of inflammatory rhetoric that was being promoted on major network TVs. Now, your liberal network machines, they really wanted to make racism alive during that time, right? And so what they did was they hired a bunch of Black brulee people. Like, what's the chick's name? Tiffany, it escapes me because she really wasn't that important to me, but Tiffany something, right? They hired her to say all kinds of shit about white folks, right? Just unobjectively hateful things about white folks. They hired every little scholarly Black face from the brulee that they could to fan the flames of racism. It was very overt and acceptable. And so Joy Reid was like the perfect piece to that type of propaganda, right? because, some of these people have no shame. They will say, I'm a godly person, my God, my God, my God, but they don't have the fruitages of the Spirit. They do not have the fruitages of God's Spirit that we read about in Galatians 5:22 and 23. Because I don't care if you're paid to spit hateful rhetoric or not, a godly person would not be spewing the type of vitriol that people like Joy Reid has been spitting. And that's just word 100. I'm sorry, I feel like I have a cat hair on my nose. It's itching. I suffer so much with allergies because I don't have any animals, but every place that my kids go have animals, and I feel like they bring the animals here. So I'm always feeling like there's a cat or a dog fragment on me. So if my eyes are welling during the live stream, I'm allergic to those animals, but I don't like to take man-made products like that. So it's like I just suffer through it, but I'm like, dang. I just remember the kids were over their dad's and he got a cat and dog. But anyways, y'all, you said it's just a bad year for him. I have been suffering. I don't know what I have been going through the last couple of months, but it has been nonstop. And I use like natural products. Like I use the honey with the pollen in it. And I'm just like, I don't know what it is, but my eyes have been they wail every day, like multiple times a day. They are watering. It's just been, I don't know if this is just a season or what it is, but I agree with you. Allergies have been no joke. But it's interesting. There's a difference between, when Joy Reid got let go and when Tucker Carlson got let go. With the perception, getting back to what she said about value, right? When, I look at a person like Tucker Carlson, and I'm not saying this because Tucker is a white guy. I'm saying this because I feel like Tucker was a person who I believed, challenged, an establishment that pretty much raised him, right? He started questioning and he started, kind of going over the edge of what these networks wanted him to kind of cover. And obviously, a lot of the stuff that Tucker was adding value with in his conversation, to me, was stuff that every American should really care about, no matter what side of the aisle you are on, right? But when it comes to Joy Reid, and this is how you know she's not valuable or she was expendable more than valuable, is that MSNBC is not going to have a 8 million. What was the fallout for Fox when they let Tucker go? I believe their stock price was impacted. All kinds of shit happened to Fox as a result of Tucker leaving. Matter of fact, I still don't think that Fox has fully recovered from the departure of Tucker Carlson. But MSNBC, they're going to be fine without Joy Reid, okay? And it's not because she's a black woman. It's because she's a black woman who can be paid to say all kinds of shit just to inflame idealisms of partisan ideology. And people are tired of that shit, right? And so, there's a different perception in, who, of value is what I'm saying. I found Tucker Carlson to be valuable. I did not find Joy Reid to be valuable. And I'm not saying that, and again, if she delivered some of her opinions in a less radical and more objective and less hateful way, I would have been able to say that she was a valuable contributor to real pragmatic conversation, but she wasn't. I don't think anybody who just, kind of every day calling the other side names, and even if you can put an objective point on the table, you're still sprinkling it with some just unnecessary vitriol. I don't think NBC is going to hurt at all with Joy Reid being gone, like Fox News. And that's just the difference between the fallout between the value that Joy Reid thought that she had and the value that, other people thought she had as well. I believe that her show had dropped like 53% in ratings. You can think that you're valuable all day long, but the proof is in the pudding. If you're not getting the ratings for your show, that value becomes very, very subjective to the segment of people who actually takes the time to support your show, which for Joy, it was really fixed on these, angry black Democrat types or those obnoxious non-black Democrat types that need black people to be a voice for their frustrations because we just say shit cooler. I get what y'all be doing over there in the Democrat side with them black faces. But anyways, y'all, let me get to the comments. I don't know what this dude talking about, but you just spamming my chat with the same damn thing, so we got to get your ass out of here. Block. We're going to hide that guy. You ain't about to come up in here just trolling. You said 100% he wasn't hateful. Let's see. No, she's no Candace Owens. Even Candace Owens get on my damn nerves. So whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, some of these folks just really they're double talking demons, right? And I don't like it with some of these talking heads because they can be so hateful in their rhetoric, so divisive, so irresponsible, and then talk about, my God keeps me strong. God, like, who is your God? Mithras, right? The Roman Mithras. Like, who is your God is my question to some of these people. You can't be worshiping the God of Abraham. I said that all the time. You cannot be spitting such hateful rhetoric and vitriol and just aiming towards dividing people and societies and then turn around and say that your God is keeping you anything. It's like some of y'all people belong to your father, the devil. Y'all belong to y'all father, the devil. And that's just what it is. I remember Gene Hackman when I was a kid, right? I would see Gene Hackman in quite a few movies. And, my sister, obviously, she's grand conspiracy theorist, Madam Conspiracy Theorist. She goes, girl, they kill him in threes, right? So she was like, Gene Hackman and I guess his wife were found dead. Now, what's very interesting is they said that the wife's body appeared to be dead for quite some time. And I don't think they ever mentioned, how recently his body was found. There was a dead dog also in the house. What is going on there? And they said it might have been carbon monoxide, which could make sense. But the door was open, right? Don't you need sort of enclosed spaces for carbon monoxide to, and correct me if I'm wrong. And I thought that carbon dioxide, rather, I thought it was odorless. So they wouldn't be able to just walk into his house and smell that, because I thought that was odorless. And that's why it kills. So that's why they call it the silent killer. I'm not a scientist, guys, but this is just from when I was growing up. And that's why they have the detectors in people's house now, because so many people were actually, passing on because of that. So, they wouldn't be able to smell that, right? So very interesting. I couldn't even, the dog, even the dog died. And then they said they found pill bottles next to the wife's body. They found a space heater next to the wife's body, but she had been dead, it appeared, for quite some time, because they said that her body was almost mummified. And to me, if a body is almost mummified, that means that that body was there for some weeks at least. And so I am wondering what happened in that house. You know, like we're talking about the carbon dioxide, right? Or is it monoxide? Which one is it they call the silent killer, where in the homes where you have to have the detector for the homes? Like they were saying that they didn't smell that. And what I was saying is that why would they smell that? Because yeah, monoxide. Thank you so much. I was saying, why would they smell that if carbon monoxide is odorless? And correct me if I'm wrong. But I thought it was odorless, and that's why they called it the silent killer. But they were saying that, they were saying something about that, and they didn't smell that. And I'm just like, well, why would they smell it? Like, you know, like it's odorless. That's why so many people die if you don't have the little detectors in your house. But it seems though the wife there was a report that said that she was almost mummified, which, I mean, I'm not no, mortuary scientist or not or anything like that, but to me, a body found in that condition would indicate that that person was dead longer than just yesterday. I mean, they found these people yesterday, but the way that they're describing the condition of the wife's body, it seems as though she might have been dead like a considerably longer time than that. Anthony, you got to get out of my chat because you just coming in here saying ignorant stuff. So this is not a child's channel. So we got to go ahead and block you. You're not going to come up in here saying ignorant stuff. This is a grown people conversation. Yes, very long time there to reach is it desiccation? It just seems, yes, she was decomposed. Like it seemed like this woman was on the pathway of decomposition, meaning that her body was there for quite some time, which is pretty sad. But that's really sad, unfortunately. We will see what happens with that. Another funny thing that came up on my radar, and if you are a Byron Donalds fan, I am sorry if this offends you. At just $19. And I want to shout out to Reese Waters, because he is always just making fun of the, I guess the politics of America, if you will. And so Byron Donalds was one of those brothers that I saw him going hard for Trump. I mean, I don't think that there was another black Republican. I don't even think Tim Scott, maybe he did, but they were about neck and neck going just hard for Trump. I was for sure that Trump had a biscuit for Byron Donalds. I'm like, he is doing a hell of a lot of bug dancing. He's doing, if there was a bug dancing contest, he would win first place. Maybe Tim Scott, I don't know, but he'd be a strong second. He bug danced his ass off for Trump. And so I automatically thought that Byron would get a position in Trump's cabinet. Like that seemed to be like the, goal of all of that bug dancing, right? But it's interesting how you can shuck and jive that damn hard and just really have one of those womp womp moments, right? And you have all these sort of, as Reese Waters would call them, pick-me's, right? So Byron was a pick-me of the Trump campaign. Vivek was a pick-me, on the Trump train. And where are both of them now? They're trying to possibly run for governor, right? Now, it's interesting because Byron seemed to have maybe possibly had his sights set on being governor, right? Maybe that was his plan. If I don't get in the Trump cabinet, maybe Trump will promote me or think about me for the governor of Florida position, right? Because obviously Ron DeSantis may have his own ambitions, right? And lo and behold, it seems as though Ron DeSantis is not really feeling that idea because obviously he wants his wife to be the next governor of Florida, right? He wants to keep it in the family, if you will. So what is Ron DeSantis saying? Now, all that shucking and jiving that Byron did, and arguably Byron Donalds is really what rallied some of those black male voters to the Trump vote. Byron Donalds, like, no matter how much we want to clown the brother, right? He did shuck and jive all up in the black community for Trump. So it was kind of shocking to me that Byron was literally just picked over. Matter of fact, Byron wasn't even at the Black MAGA little White House thing. Was Byron not invited? Like, is Byron getting blackballed or blackmailed? Literally. What's going on with Byron? Like, why is Trump, like, it's almost like they used that man. They used that man. And now they like, going on somewhere, Byron. Right? Thanks a lot for getting us those votes. Now you can take your little black ass on somewhere. That's what it's given to me. So now you hear Ron DeSantis, right? Now I would think Byron's from Florida, right? Isn't he from Florida, right? Let me see.
That's going to fight for people, especially when it's not easy. Have you been willing to get in and happen? 100%.
Revert to what, Ron DeSantis? The dark side?
And so it really needs to be, okay, are you going to be somebody that's going to fight for people, especially when it's not easy? Have you been willing to get in and get involved in these big battles that we've had and have won over these many years? And if you're not willing to do that, then I think we are going to see this state revert. So I would not take anything for granted. I know people have been I mean, we've had hundreds of thousands of people move here specifically because of the policies that we have. And I think that that's something that you should not take for granted. This is not necessarily something that just goes on autopilot. And it's just something that I think is really, really important. So
I don't want to hear that shit, Ron DeSantis. I want to hear you talking shit about Byron Donalds. What did you say about that man? Hang on. Because Ron DeSantis, these people are not loyal. They're just not loyal. What you talking about, Ron?
I want these congressmen focused on enacting his agenda. They haven't done very much yet. They're not putting his executive orders into place. We'll see what they do on the spending. But we have such a narrow majority that to be trying to campaign other places and missing these votes, I think is not something that's advisable at all.
So Ron DeSantis don't want Byron Donalds to basically run for governor in his state. He's saying you need to focus on the job that you were elected to do, right? And don't worry about my job because this job has already got my wife's name on it as I pursue presidential ambitions in the next 4 years. So basically he needs Byron to just stay in his place in Congress. He's like, I mean, quite frankly, I mean, you guys aren't even doing your job. It's like basically.
I want these congressmen focused on enacting his agenda. They haven't done very much yet. They're not.
So Ron DeSantis is basically not with the shits on no Byron Donalds.
Can America? You're telling me that.
Hold on. What do you guys think? Do you think Byron Donalds should be the governor of Florida?
Course from the state's high school curriculum. In a letter obtained by ABC News, the Florida Department of Education rejected the course, calling it inexplicably contrary to the Florida law and significantly lacks educational value.
And isn't this?
So, and shout out to Reese Waters. I basically wanted to hear Ron DeSantis say Byron's name. He was not with the shits with Byron.
against Florida on AP studies disqualified. Huh. Did he now?
You know, I think part of the reason our country has struggled is because DC Republicans all too often accept false narratives, accept lies that are perpetrated by the left, and to accept the lie that Kamala Harris has been perpetrating even when that has been debunked. That's not the way you do it. The way you do it, the way you lead, is to fight back against the lies, is to speak the truth. So I'm here defending my state of Florida against false accusations and against lies, and we're going to continue to speak.
Yeah, running for governor, her husband wouldn't.
So he endorsed Rep. Donaldson last week, but now DeSantis is weighing in, setting up a potential proxy war between the two Republican heavyweights. If Florida's First Lady, Casey DeSantis, weren't at least toying with the idea of running for governor, her husband wouldn't be floating trial balloons. So Ron DeSantis is not interested in Byron Blackass Donalds. Is it Donalds? Running for governor of Florida because he said, you know what? My wife got that together, Byron. They have not given Byron any flowers or biscuits. And Trump said that that was his boy. He had them white men Republicans in these little huddles just touching on his head like he was a pet and he was just the cheesing like the Kool-Aid man and stuff. He liked all that stuff. I wish, man, don't be that familiar with people. White ladies, don't come up in no black woman's hair just getting familiar. You just keep your hands to yourself. All right? But this is what they was doing. They was chia petting Byron Donalds, right? Because he was out there just speaking and saying everything that they wanted to say. And now, I want to get to the clip of Ron DeSantis talking about how Byron has not done anything for the Republican movement. And this is what I was like, damn, Ron DeSantis is delusional as hell. Because I wasn't the only one that seen Byron Donalds just shucking and jiving for Trump. I know I wasn't the only one seeing that man just barbershopping it up with all the brothers trying to be down and likable.
But you got to solidify that, and then you got to take it to the next level. And that's really what the name of the game is.
So really, we have achieved a certain level of success. What we want to do is...
I think we are going to see this state revert. So I would not take anything for granted quickly. That could happen 100%. So I think people look at it and say, you got a guy like Byron, he just hasn't been a part of any of the victories.
There it is.
We need to start achieving those victories up. We've achieved victories in Florida. We need to start achieving those victories up there. So I think people look at it and say, you got a guy like Byron, he just hasn't been a part of any of the victories that we've had here over the left over these last years. He's just not been a part of it.
So Ron DeSantis is saying that Byron Donalds, who I believe is from Florida, he's saying of all these victories that we've had over the left in the past, 4 years, Byron Donalds was not a part of those. Now, I mean, I'm not defending the brother at all, but it seemed like I've seen Byron Donalds in the news as a black face for the Republicans quite a bit. Like between him and Tim Scott, like I thought that those were like their tokens, right? But Ron DeSantis is saying that he's representing Florida, but he hasn't been a part of any of the wins that we've had in Florida. So basically, Ron DeSantis is gearing up his base not to take Byron Donalds seriously. And let me see what this lady from Florida is talking about. Girl, what you saying? What you think about all this? You from Florida. What are you talking about, girl?
2026. Now you notice he endorsed Byron Donalds for the Florida governor race in 2026.
So she's saying Trump endorsed Byron.
You notice he's not endorsing Matt Gaetz, who has let everyone know that this is a true possibility. I mean, your name is just freaking mud right now, Matt Gaetz. You need to go away. Now, I really believe that Donald Trump is being intentional with his endorsement at this time because really it is so early. And I believe the main reason is because of Ron DeSantis. Now, the rumor is that Casey DeSantis was planning to run for governorship. And that has been the rumor in the last year and a half. And we all know that DeSantis has the intention for running for higher office. He wants to be president of these United States. And he figures that if his wife is actually governor of Florida, then he can still show that political clout that he has. Honestly, I don't think there's a chance in hell that Byron Donalds is going to win the governor's race, nor Casey DeSantis. I think there's going to be too much.
Okay, so she don't think that Byron or Casey is going to win that Florida's governor race. Let me get to my chat so I can see what you guys think about that. So, what do you think? Do you think Byron has a chance? Do you think Casey has a chance? I'm not going to say that Byron doesn't have a chance because he's a black guy. I think that him having that Trump loyalist card definitely makes him a better option than maybe Ron DeSantis' wife. You're talking about you have a higher level of what some, would consider misogyny on the Republican side, right? They're not going to vote for Casey DeSantis, right? She would have to have like every single woman in Florida vote for her. Like the dudes, like they would have to really believe in her values, and she really have to kind of put her values out there in a way that's believable for the male base to vote for her over Byron Donalds. But white people, a lot of times, like black people, they will vote based off of their race too. So a lot of times Byron Donalds won't get the vote for some of these people because they're not going to vote for the black guy over the white chick. So don't act like people don't play these race cards, because they do, and people of all colors play that card. Matter of fact, there are a lot of Trump supporters who voted for Trump because he's a white guy, and really they don't even know or didn't even care about his policies because he just gave them white guy rhetoric, and that was enough. So, everybody doing something race driven, I suppose. But what do you think? I think that Byron, they are not giving that man his biscuits. It's like they almost just used the man. Byron Donalds is giving, I've been used. When I look at him do these interviews and they ask him about Trump and his cabinet, he has that, I can't really say anything. I can't really say too much about it. It's like, motherfucker, you can't say nothing at all because there's nothing to say right now. You hoping right now, but you can't tell folks that you hoping, because then that would kind of reveal that they passed you up for a shit ton of things in this new administration, and you were one of the key buck dancers out there trying to get Trump elected on behalf of black looking men. So it doesn't really pay to be one of those pick-me's at the end of the day, I suppose. It's like, dang, these people will use you. It just keep and he just kept on using. They let them. Who's singing that song? Just keep on using me. That's Byron right now, right? They until you use me up. Like they gonna use his ass up too. They gonna take away all his pride, and still won't give him another job. These people, they ain't shit. They are not shit. That's bold. But let me know. Check out Reese Waters. Byron Donalds suffers another Republican rejection.
I was never had. I believe it at that. But
this dude can't even give a straight answer about the future, his future.
In that way, or do you have bigger plans?
I don't feel slighted. Just because you're not in the cabinet doesn't mean you don't have a big job. If we're gonna be truthful, when that conversation was had, I said no.
He's lying. He said if we're gonna be truthful, when that conversation was had, I was like, no. He's eyeballs looking all over the place, because even he doesn't believe that what he's about to tell this guy to make himself look somewhat in the loop or better in this Republican circle, that is true. But
I'm looking at other things.
So you were approached.
So he said that when he was approached He's saying that he said, no, I'm looking at other things.
To be a part of the Trump cabinet.
There were conversations that were heard. I was never.
So here we go. So dude was like, so just to get this straight on record, you were approached to be in the Trump cabinet, right? Let's listen to this.
If we're going to be truthful, when that conversation was had, I said, no, I'm looking at other things.
So you were approached to be a part of the Trump cabinet.
There were conversations that were heard. I was never had. I'm going to leave it at that.
He said there were conversations that were heard that were never had. What in the double talking demon? I got to get what you just said. What you say?
Cabinet.
There were conversations that.
There were conversations that were heard. I was never had. I was never had. I'ma leave it at that. Oh my gosh! I mean, this man got a tongue twist all around the reality that they rejected his ass in their cabinet.
But I got my own plans and things that I want to do.
I got my own plans and things that I want to do. This is like the worst rejection denial ever. Poe Byron. The Republicans basically used his ass and then got rid of his ass. Crazy. Anyways, let me get into here. You said Trump's token. I mean, it sucks to be the token, all right? I say this all the time. It sucks to be the token. It sucks to be the puppet, right? Just ask Kamala's ass. I mean, Kamala was looking great recently. Where did I see Kamala Harris at? She had her neck covered. She had those little earrings, right? Because she was giving a speech. I think she was accepting an NAACP, right? She was accepting the NAACP award. And boy, did she give them something inspiration. That she told them to fight for democracy, right? All of that recycled stuff that Democrats usually tell their people. She told them that, right? It was very, recycled, yet inspirational in tone. I mean, she looked great. I mean, she looked like, she probably got off the bench for a while. So, why do they keep just doing this to this woman? It's like, I wonder what kind of shaming rituals do these people actually put out. It's like, because if I were Kamala, it's like, I wouldn't have been seen for quite some time. But it's like almost like they keep forcing Kamala Harris in our faces. I don't know if this woman is going to run for president again. I think that they're going to try to keep her in our face as long as they can to try to see if they can get a second run out of Kamala Harris. I even heard that the Democrats are so desperate that they are even considering Stephen A. Smith. That they are even considering Stephen A. Smith as a possible, person to lead their party. You are desperate as hell when you go to Stephen A. Smith. Like, there are how many ways to clown Stephen A. Smith can one person come up with? I'm calculating. Oh, it says endless. But, let's see what they do with the Stephen A. Smith card. They failed with the Kamala card. So it's like now, let's do the Stephen A. Smith. They bombed with Hakeem Jeffries, right? Like, Hakeem Jeffries is like beta black guy on steroids. That guy is a beta black male on steroids. Cory Booker is why do they like gay black men so much in their party? To me, every single, all the Democrat dudes on the Democrat side, they give like, touch of gayness, down low, black man with bitch like behaviors, right? So I think in order for the Democrats to really improve their chances, they really have to defeminize the men on their side, right? It's like really like the females on the Democratic side act like dudes, and the dudes act like females on that side. So that's the first thing that they have to fix on their side in order to find some better candidates, is they have to sort of re-propagandize their base, sort of LBGTQ, de-victimize them and all that other stuff, right? And, put forth a reasonable person that, can just kind of look at things objectively and pragmatically without all of the sensational emotions, right? And that's kind of what the Democrats are kind of have evolved into, is this party of the people of irrational emotions and entitlements. And, they kind of got to work on those things too. So, you got to raise your candidates. Y'all out here raising these people anyways. Raise some better candidates. All right? You got to raise some better candidates, right? And that's just what that is. You cannot keep flipping the switches, feminizing your men and masculine, making your women masculine. It's perplexing to a lot of people, and they don't want to deal with that. But anyways, you guys, let me know what you think. It looks like the conservatives are sort of like dangling the Epstein, a bunch of redacted BS in the people's faces. And I've said this before, and I will say it again, right? Unless there are certain sectors that the powers that be are really okay with just crashing, burning, just going through the motion like that, we are never going to see the Epstein list, because there are too many lawyers, there are too many judges, there are too many CEOs, there are a lot of these sexual deviants in very high class places. And I feel that if we really had the flight list, if we really did have this list of people, it would literally crash the market. So I don't think that we're ever going to see the Epstein list. I mean, honestly, most of these people will 86 themselves, or they will die before we see their name. Matter of fact, that's really how it's going to play out with this Epstein crap, right? Every time one of those perverts die, or they off themselves or something like that, then bloop, guess what? He was on the Epstein list, right? He's dead and gone, so why do we care, right? So, I mean, I think it's going to be played out much like that. And most of these people who are, fighting for, this information, they're just going to keep getting redacted bullshit and hype stories, right? Pam Bondi gets on the list, right? Gets on the mic because she knows Epstein is, of importance to... She knows that Epstein is of importance to a lot of people, right? So she's going to go and she's going to juice up the conservatives and make them all excited about finally getting an Epstein list. And then, a couple of months later, after all the waiting and bullshit, people's attention span is low. They're not going to get anything. All the while, there's going to be some other things that kind of distract us from what they were really doing. So, there's that. So, anyways, you guys, I am about to get out of here. I just wanted to go through that. I do want to make this one point. When I recommend something, right, I'm not saying like divorce, like if it's part of a collection, I'm not saying divorce the whole thing. I really hate the idiot mindsets of people, that 140 character mind that don't really comprehend that well. So I recommend that young men they read the book of Ecclesiastes. And I said this yesterday, I believe, in my live stream. And I'm not saying that you don't read the whole Bible. That's not what I was saying. You know, you always got that special idiot that want to come in just saying shit without comprehending. But what I was saying is that there's a lot of wisdom in the book of Ecclesiastes, and I'm not telling you to just read that book of the Bible and no other ones. I just think for younger men growing up and trying to develop a sense of wisdom, I do personally recommend the book of Ecclesiastes, because you're really looking at the learning curves of somebody, King Solomon, who pretty much had it all. He went through it all that every young man goes through, and he provides his learning curves from it all. And Solomon is writing this more so in his older age, so he's had a lot of time to be able to reflect on a great many of things. And I think that what he pays forward to young men in the book of Ecclesiastes is really priceless. It's a great understanding of the cycle of life. It helps you to understand what chasing after the wind really means. And as we, come to look at life in its, broader perspective, there truly is nothing new under the sun. And just as the rich man will enjoy his riches, I appreciate him saying that even the poor man can enjoy his bread in peace without worrying about the same thing that the rich man worries about. But at the same time, the fate for the poor man and the rich man, the wise man and the foolish man are the same. But at the end of the day, what reigns supreme in Ecclesiastes is the acquisition of good wisdom and creating real meaning in your life. So again, if I'm recommending you read a book specifically, I have a purpose for that. But I always encourage people to read the entire ancient text, scrolls of remembrance, or Bible, if you will, so that you can understand the full story and history of mankind. The Bible is not a manual. It is a collection of accounts, and it is the most accurate history of mankind that we'll find. And even archaeologists prove this all the time. So anyways, I just wanted to put that point out because I was reading the comment from my live stream. I'm like, here we go again. Somebody special, right? Talk about you should read the whole Bible. It's like, duh. But I specifically wanted to focus on Ecclesiastes for these young men and women, but specifically the young men. So anyways, you guys, have a wonderful rest of your evening. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you would not disrespect or abuse yourself, do not disrespect or abuse your neighbors. Bye. Oh, and if you did content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Bye.